So it's food plot day. I have to get all my fall food plots in here. And to be honest, I'm a little sorry to see this one go. This has been a great summer forage food plot. Last week I put a video trail camera on the other side of the plot and I got a lot of cool footage of deer using it and browsing throughout the day and in the evenings. When hunting season comes in though, this food plot will start to die just naturally. So I have to get something in here for mid and late season to keep the deer focused in this area. I'll be putting brassicas in this plot, which is a new food plot crop to me. But I'll be spreading it right down on top of the soil, rolling over the existing food plot, and giving a protective layer on top of that seed. I'll put some glyphosate down on top of that and try to kill the rest of these weeds that are kind of growing up throughout the summer plot. And hopefully these brassicas get off to a good start. We're right at about the 45-50 day mark from the average first frost here in this area of Virginia. So this should be the right time to get it on the ground. Yeah, I'll put the scrapes up tomorrow. I'm just gonna get the food plots down today.
Okay.
All right, bye. Well, that didn't work quite as good as I hoped it would. I used that bale of fence last time with a rod through the middle and some chains on either side, and it worked great as a roller, almost like a little cultipacker. But this time one of those wires got hung up on one side of that rod going through the middle, and it completely snagged it, pulled it all the way through, unraveled it from the inside. So that's a major bummer, but we did get the job done, and just dragging that big ball of wire over here got everything packed down pretty good. Now I'll put some glyphosate down on top and kill the weeds that we don't want, and this ought to be a pretty good food plot. All right, this is going to be my last plot for today, and as you can see behind me, it's really not much of a food plot. It's really not a food plot at all. I tried to get buckwheat in here earlier this year, and it did not take. So it shot up, it got about a foot high. It was pretty sparse, I had really poor germination. I think I got it in the ground too early, honestly, and it was just too cold. But since then, it's just a bunch of weeds growing up in here. This is the landing site of an old logging project here, so it's got a ton of sawdust and mulch on the ground. And if anything's gonna grow in here this fall, it'll be rye grain. So I'm gonna plant it in here pretty heavy, try to get a good seed on the ground, and see if we can't have a usable food plot here for this fall. I think what I'm going to end up doing on this plot is putting the seed down today and maybe come back tomorrow with a weed whacker. It's a really small plot. It's maybe 1/10 of an acre. So it's not going to be that much to weed whack. And just for this fall, if I can get rye grain to start growing in here, it'll start to choke out some of these weeds. But there's almost not even enough of that on the ground to really justify spraying glyphosate on it. So tomorrow will be another big day. It's hot out here. It's like 95 degrees unless you're in the shade, and the sun will just cook you. So I sure hope these deer appreciate all the work we put into this for them. I'm back out here on one of our permission properties, and today's going to be probably the last day to prepare these food plots before I check them mid-September, just to make sure I got good germination, and if I have to overseed a couple of plots, then I'll do that then. But what I'm going to do today is clear out the rest of this plot. I decided not to glyphosate it, but instead I'm going to take a weed whacker and a machete and cut everything down to the ground. So I'm just going to lay all that dead stuff right on top. It's not too thick behind me, so I don't think it'll be a problem to just use this method instead of glyphosate. After I get the plot cleared, I'm going to put a mock scrape out here in the middle and get a camera set up on it. I got a 4x4 pressure treated fence post, and I'm going to put an oak branch on the top of it. I've not tried this method before. Normally I've just located natural scrapes and kind of used those, but I definitely don't think it's going to be an aversion for the deer, and if it attracts any attention at all, it'll be a bonus. So let's get to it here. I've got a lot of work to get done today, and I've got one other property that I need to put one of these mock scrapes in the middle of a plot there as well. All right, I think that looks pretty good. That top limb is about chest height to me, so the deer won't have to reach up or stand on their hind legs too far to get to it. I'm gonna trim this thing up a little bit, start the mock scrape underneath it, and I'm gonna get out of here for today. Something like that ought to be just right. I'm gonna leave the leaves on here for now just because everything else is green. And these will die now that this limb is cut off the tree, and they'll fall off here before too long. But for right now, it's gonna hold a little bit more scent, so I'm gonna leave it up there.